welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. It's my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys. And for you concerned people, I'm almost over the flu. Yeah.
And tonight we'll be reviewing The Invitation that was released in 2020.
Well, actually, it's only several weeks ago.
Yeah, about in August it was released.
Let's see. What's the release date? Hang on. The release date was... the 26th of August. There you go.
Yeah, and for once I thought this movie was going to go to Netflix or at least one of the stream services, but I was wrong this time around. It turns out it went directly to theatres.
That's a change. I mean, during the COVID, a lot of things went straight to streaming because the cinemas were closed. Now things are getting back to normal, so we're going to see a lot more good films turn up the cinema.
But even after COVID is dusted and gone, well, for a bit, there has been a lot of most of the movies that were new and polished has gone directly to Netflix instead of mainstream anywhere. And the only mainstream ones I could think of are the ones that can make money for the studios.
Well, real ones.
So this is a nice welcome change in the genre to bring back something that's familiar to me.
Well, this movie you're reviewing tonight is how would you put it? Not a remake, but
I'm going to say
a rehashed theme.
It's a re-emerging theme, I think.
A re-emerging theme. How's that?
Because in the past, this is a vampire movie, so you know, and in the past we've had vampire movies where they deal with vampires reasoning the fact they're good guys, but at the same time having a shady past.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we've gone back to something original where we encounter evil blood-sucking vampires.
Just like accountants. Yeah. And lawyers.
So it's kind of nice to bring back an old vampire-related theme to the old... To bring it back in scratch or back into style.
Now, the name of the movie is...
I already told them.
The Invitation. It's 2022. It's American supernatural horror film. Even though it says American, there's British actors in it, and I think it was filmed in Hungary or somewhere. So it's been around the world. Now, before I go any further, I was going to mention it later, and I probably will mention it again. I was looking online for different things, and there's also another movie came out this year called The Invitation.
Oh, yes, there was.
And it's a rude one.
Yeah, but so don't confuse it with this one, guys.
No, so if you start looking for it anywhere, streaming or whatever, there is a pornographic one called The Invitation.
Yes.
This is not that one.
Although they did mention that one is also a horrific movie.
Well, it might be, but it's full of sex and a bit more sex and maybe some killings and a bit more sex.
Yeah. According to this movie, according to Blood Disgusting, there was going to be... It revealed that there's an alternate R-rated cut of the film, which was released on VOD and streamed following the theatre running. In the other version, more gore, violence, nudity are added, which were removed from the theatrical version.
I'm talking about a different movie.
No, this is what this movie I was referring to.
Oh, okay.
And it had a PG-13 rating, which does explain why this one didn't have so much gore or sex involved in this movie.
Yeah, just two-dimensional horror. And look, it's still not bad. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if you added a little bit more of the gore and a bit more violence in it, it would have been a lot better.
I think I would have had a lot more fun with that idea myself.
Yeah. But if they tamed it down so you can get it through the theatres, well, that's a bit of a problem. Yeah.
That's the problem with theatres. They think if they were thinking too much like George A. Romero's work would not have been shown, let alone viewed.
Well, what was the Disney one we watched? The Watcher in the Woods or something or other?
Yeah.
Was that was a fence sitter. It was too tame for the adults and not interesting enough for the kids. They took all the good bits out and left it as once upon a time there was 3 bears and not much else happened. And they didn't make a commitment to one way or the other. So this one here could have been a bit better if they left some of the actual... I wouldn't say actually nudity or sex scenes in it, but a bit more violence, a bit more graphic. horror.
The original title for this movie was called The Bride, which I think would have been a red herring in this movie.
But there was also another movie a couple of years ago called The Bride, wasn't there? A Frankenstein movie.
Yeah, that was many
But still,
years
people.
ago.
But it's good. It's good to have a fresh name. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. So who directs, writes,
All the good
all
stuff.
the groovy stuff we know about this
Okay.
production?
Produced by Emil Gladstone. Written by Blair Butler. Directed by Jessica M. Thompson.
God, there's some females out there who
Gold
know how to write
power.
this.
It's about time. Now, before I do the cast, I'll just scroll down to the box office and the budget. Now, this has only been going for a couple of weeks, so
Yeah.
it's not. But however, budget was about 10 mil, and it's already boxed office at about 18 mil. So by the end of its run, I can envisage it getting up to about 40 or 50 or 60 mil. Then it's going to go into home media, and so it's made its money. It's good.
Yeah, and we just, so you guys know, we just watched it, say, a few hours ago.
Yeah, we went to the theatre. Yeah.
Yeah, so we thought, we were thinking of reviewing it tomorrow,
But we just couldn't help
decided
ourselves.
to review it today so it's fresh in our minds and be able to tell you what our thoughts on it as we review, obviously.
Now,
Go
I'm not going to go through everybody in it. I'm just going to mention the two main stars.
Right.
We have Natalie Emmanuel. She plays Evelyn or Evie.
Evie.
She's our protagonist, our final girl, our hero, our whatever. Okay, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Well, we wouldn't go that far, considering she's not a vampire slayer per se.
But in the end of the movie, she gets into it.
But by the time she, well, I'll get into that later.
There you go. Now, Thomas Doherty plays Walter DeVille.
He's so
He's the
yummy.
antagonist.
Don't go there yet.
He's the.
He's
I'm not going to say what he is because Sarah's going to tell a story in a minute and
Yeah.
explain what he is. But
he's a smoothie, that one. I think if you watch the trailers, you'd see he's very
really,
smooth.
he's somewhere in between Billy Zane and Hugh Grant. He's sort of like he got that nice, good look about him, but he's a bit of a smoothie. Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, nice, and he suits the role quite nicely.
I remember seeing him in the Descendants movies.
Yeah, he
plays
played
Harry Hook.
Yeah.
And he did okay for the role.
Yeah, he was a bit younger then, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Obviously.
younger.
But how old do you reckon he was? Teenager?
Probably teenager.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many years ago that was. I mean, it's not too long, obviously.
Yeah. No, what, a few years ago. But so he's grown up a little bit now. Now he's an adult and he's doing adult roles. But he looks good. The camera likes him. It's really good. Nice personality.
Yeah, I can see he's going to be quite fun an actor to work with in the near future.
We will say one thing before we start. This has loosely based itself on the Dracula theme, and hence some of the people have got names out of the original Dracula story.
Right.
So you will find a cameo appearance by Jonathan Harker and Mina Harker in the movie.
If
and
you watch
stuff.
the trailer,
Yeah.
you would have heard the names Jonathan Harker mention, and therefore it was a red herring. And there's going to be a few red herrings in this movie.
Yeah, but a couple of names come up. One of the girls in it is called
Lucy.
Lucy, and
Hint,
Lucy
hint.
Turner was in the original Dracula story and whatever. And there was Renfield. I'm trying to think who Renfield, but Mr. Field was the butler. I'm just worrying whether it was shortened.
But who knows? Maybe Renfield was his first name. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, irrespective.
I don't know.
So yeah, I've done that, and done that. That's about. I might as well hand it over to you now. Hey?
Yeah, might as well. So the story begins. It's inside a mansion, a castle or mansion, yeah, and it's creepy. And this girl is trapped in a room, and she tries to escape her room, and she has nowhere else to go, and she takes her own life in the end, saying that that it all ends with her. Also.
Yes. Exactly right.
Anyway, we then cross to America, where a woman who's a caterer is working alongside her friend, Grace, and she just she hears about a special DNA type thing to allow you to find your lost relatives.
We'll give her a bit of backstory here. Her father died quite a few years ago, but her mother passed away recently, and she doesn't have any immediate family, so she feels quite alone.
Evie is alone, so she wants to find out if she has any of her relatives. She also is in heavy debt. Her bills are past due.
Yeah, past due bills and stuff. She's picking up. She wants to be an artist, doing pottery and stuff, and to make
ceramics, if that's the word.
Ceramics, but she's picking up a bit of job doing catering assistance. Like waiting and stuff, and that sort of stuff. Yeah,
whatever pays the bills, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So she ends up submitting her DNA, blood sample.
For a company called something or other.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called now.
And Find Yourself, that's what it's called.
Find Yourself. Oh, I found myself. I was lying in bed this morning. Okay.
Soon enough, shortly, she eventually gets an email from said family, and they say, guess what, your relations are in England. And Evie was really interested in finding out about her family there because her mother's family came from England, and her mother always wanted to take her there to discover their roots.
There you go.
Does that sound familiar?
They didn't have enough money to go travelling, as most of us are a bit skint.
Yeah, she then meets her cousin, whose name's Oliver Alexander, I think.
Yeah, that's last name's Alexander.
Yeah, and
he
wants her to come to the States to meet her family and to...
No, he wants to go to England to meet her family.
to the England estate in order to take part in a wedding.
You didn't say whose wedding. You notice that? Mm-hmm. There's going to be a wedding here, and we're going to invite you to the wedding.
Yeah, so...
I never actually said who the wedding was going to be.
So she thinks about it, and she ponders it because she can't...
She ponders? Strange man.
She doesn't know whether this is a good idea, and her friend Grace tells her maybe you shouldn't go because who knows, these guys may turn out to be...
homicidal maniacs or something or other?
Or just people who are looking for a kidney.
Yes, but he wasn't willing to pay first-class airfare and all the other good groovy things. That doesn't sound like he's going to take your kidneys out.
Who knows? Make sure the kidneys are in good
organ harvesting here, folks. Yeah.
Anyway, she arrives in England. It's all good, and she eventually gets the VIP treatment. Nice, the nice plane, whatever. She eventually arrives in England and arrives at the estate, which is very pretty during the day.
Nice mansion,
but
The Queen
at night,
like
it looks really creepy. Trust me, very creepy.
It's got all the old furniture. Yes, it's an old place. Several hundred years old.
Yeah.
It's got all the nice old furniture and stuff on the walls and the wooden panelling. It's really creepy, but in a nice possible way. Yes.
Oliver introduces her to a family friend named Walter DeVille. Remember this name? DeVille.
Cruella DeVille. She was in 101 Dalmatians, wasn't she? Yeah.
And this name makes me think of the encounter in that movie we reviewed not too long ago.
A while ago now, but
that kind of is a red herring when you think
DeVille.
of it. Well, not really a red herring, considering that anyone's name could become a creepy out name like that would be a red herring.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a dead herring in this case. Anyway,
Evie gets immediately attracted to Walter.
He's a smoothie.
He's a smoothie and all that stuff. Anyway, she gets placed in a nice room. It's really nice, fancy. The beautiful room with all the stuff and all the trimmings.
Yeah, good place for murder. What?
Or a Cluedo event.
A Cluedo, yeah. Who done it? Yeah. Who did what to whom?
Yeah. And
I didn't do it.
She then sees some strange things while there. She also experiences some weird dreams, as it turns out. Like
yes, she
sees a vision of a woman in a window, hint, that maybe her great-grandmother.
Or the lady just killed herself recently.
True.
Trying to warn her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it could be your mother because her mother left.
Yeah, because... No, her grandmother...
No, her mother wasn't there. Grandmother, yeah.
Her grandmother, she ran off with a servant, and I guess they got pregnant, and that said servant...
Well, one of them got pregnant. I don't think he got pregnant.
And he took the baby away to America
to keep it safe.
To keep it safe. And We don't know what happened to her grandmother yet, but I'll explain a little bit further. She meets the rest of Alexandra's family, and most of them are all males, obviously.
Many of them. There's a few killer females hanging around.
a
There's
few
Victoria
married
and
to-
Lucy and stuff. And
Lucy and Victoria, are bridesmaids to the expected bride, I think they called
and
her.
the bride never shows up anywhere.
Yeah, she keeps asking for her, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And who's going to get married?
Good point.
The cat is not let out of the bag.
Yeah, yes, and eventually, let me see. And so they eventually have a few parties. They had an interesting coming home party where she meets all her relatives, and in the evening there's a beautiful dance party where she dresses in this beautiful golden gown.
Which Walter supplied for her.
Hint, hint. And
Very nice.
there, he and her dance, and she wonders why everyone's eyes are shooting at her in a funny fashion.
Well,
And-
she was good looking.
Yeah, he remarked on that. He remarked on how beautiful she was in that beautiful gown. And we do see Oliver and Victoria, who I don't like her the moment I set my eyes on her. She's so up-class bitch about her.
Upper class bitch. That's really good.
Yeah, she is not too impressed or thrilled that Walter and Evie are so
Close.
close. Anyway, he then shows her some nice rooms. He even shows her a pottery room. I think he.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
Very nice.
And he
Elegant.
and
For a pottery room.
they even talk a bit, share their thoughts, their feelings. She even tells him about how she wishes that to have a bit of a wild lifestyle if she wanted to.
Yeah.
And he wants to. He in turn wants to step outside the whole comfort zone and try to experience the wild.
Yeah, he
world.
said he's tired of being the Lord of the Manor sort of thing because it's all a farce. You can't do anything you like. You got to keep up this pretense all the time, and he wants to get away and be a normal man.
Yeah, as if that's going to happen.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the following night, we get to the part where she wears this awesome reddish gown. Red.
Ooh, looks very nice.
Well, before we get to the gown thing, she actually goes with Lucy and Victoria to a salon, I guess.
Another part of
the house, where they swim, share, gossip, and
do the nails and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Lucy is a very nice, bubbly type lady.
Yes, she's cute.
She's
I
nice.
like her.
She's the type of person you like to talk to and be able to get along with.
Yeah, but she's cute and bubbly and inoffensive and nice.
And Victoria's the type that wants to reveal the nitty gritty about the things behind the curtain.
I would like to put it. I like to say she's got a caustic personality, if you know what I mean, people.
Yeah. At one point, when Evie was doing her nails, by one of those manicure people, she breaks a bit of the skin.
No. Evie turns to look at Victoria when she said something, and the lady cut her skin because she moved her hand. Yeah.
And then Victoria approaches her and licks her finger.
The blood off the finger. Things are starting to
get weird.
Weird, yeah.
She also mentions how, do you know anything about Walter? And she eventually gets curious and goes into a special office or library that's
which he wasn't supposed to go into
because it has a special key that's inserted in the wall, hidden from everyone. And she enters, and just so you guys know, they had some maidservants there, and they're all numbered from 7, I think it was, or 6.
1, 2, 3, 4 on the collars or whatever.
Yeah, and about 3 of them have mysteriously disappeared. One of them was cleaning the library, and she got snagged off. Anyway.
By some unknown creature.
Yeah, anyway, so Evie is searching through the drawers, and she comes across a file with her Facebook account details along with some
A
other
bit of a bio
information.
on it, yeah.
And she gets annoyed and she heads out to her room. But there, DeVille explains to her that he was checking to make sure that she
She was
wasn't.
just a money grabbing gold digger sort of person, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And she sort of believes him, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, okay, it makes a bit of sense. Yeah, okay.
He's just trying to protect their family's
a
interests.
family fortune.
And they have a brief sexual, interesting scene. I won't go into details.
Well, we didn't see it. They cut that part out. You see, the clothes started coming off, and then we didn't see anything else.
Crows drew. We just see them lying in bed. Hint, hint. Whatever.
Was that good for you? Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
I don't know why they
How
would
do you
cut
like
it.
your eggs in the morning?
I don't know why they would cut something like that. I mean, I'm not into the nitty gritty.
Well, you don't need to have it, but it was all implied. But well, I'm not saying there should be more violence in the movie. Yeah.
I know they're trying to try to make it 13 rating, whatever, but I don't think kids will care too much about watching this movie.
I don't think it's going to hit the kiddie market either.
No, I wouldn't let my niece and nephew watch it, for goodness sakes.
Well, they're a bit younger. She's 7 and he's 5.
Yeah.
I don't think that's...
Yeah. I don't get why some of these movies, the horrific ones, they are trying their hardest to go under the radar type ratings to please the rating board.
You just go along and say, hey, graphic horror, going to make it adults only, 18 plus, whatever, and put all the good stuff in it.
Yeah, some of us like the nitty-gritty and gross stuff.
I like the grittier, the nittier, whatever, yeah.
Anyway, later that night, she dresses in this beautiful red gown, and they're about to announce the bride and groom, whatever, and they're amongst the guests who are wearing all these masks.
It's like a masquerade party, yes.
And once they remove the masks, he then announces, guess what? I am going to marry Eve.
Evie. Yeah.
And Evie is so...
Stunned?
Like, everyone is thinking, oh, this is all great and all that stuff, but...
Yay.
And then we see a maid appear, and the head butler... cuts her throat.
And drains her off into a tureen to catch the blood. Don't waste any.
She, and they put it into a punch bowl. And
punch bowl.
Victoria, Lucy, and Walter, they sip the wine.
A glass of blood each.
The rest of the party don't drink the blood. I always thought they were vampires too.
But I don't think they're vampires. I think they're servants to the vampires.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
There was 3 families that DeVille looks after.
That's what I'm saying. He looks after those families, but the head family, which is the DeVille's, is a vampire.
Yeah. Alex's family is the last family they have to join in the group, because in the past there was a lot of men in their family, but they're looking for one woman to present to DeVille as a offering so he can have her as his bride.
Another bride. He got 2 brides. We gather Victoria and Lucy are his other brides, but that doesn't come out.
From different families.
Yeah. But well, it's okay.
Yeah.
You
And
can have as many as you like,
And Evie is the last one, making the circle complete.
And she is a direct descendant of the one who got away, which is their original matriarch, or to be, and bringing her into it will actually increase their power and their immortality and all those good groovy things. Yeah.
Evie tries to leave the room, but she, the other butlers prevented her and told her, and she says she wants to go home, but Walter says, "You are home."
This is your home, in a very nicest possible way.
Yeah, and she gets dragged to the basement
and
where
chained up.
She's tied up, and the 2 vampire sisters or wives. They tell her that she is destined to marry the Walter, obviously.
Yeah, and then it comes out that Victoria's about 400 years old, and Lucy's about 100 years old. She's a newbie.
Yeah, and
they knew her mother.
Yeah, see,
her grandmother.
Her grandmother was going to be suspected to be the
Yeah,
next bride in line, but
and- yeah.
she eventually not married. She fell in love with one of the servants,
And they buggered off.
and
Yeah.
eventually, I guess they catched her, and she sent her boyfriend away with the baby, and then that baby disappeared. I guess to unknown. Eventually got adopted or whatever, and was placed in somewhere else. And she took her own life.
Yeah, that could have been. So it didn't actually explain who that lady was. That could have been her grandmother.
Yeah, I think
that could have been retro stuff.
Yeah, it does explain a lot when you think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they then tell her that. Then show her this coffin that has the A on it, which could mean Alexandra. And they stuff her in there.
Aardvark.
Yeah. They stuff her in there, and Mike and I were trying to figure out why they stuffed her in there when for no reason.
I reckon it did a bit like an isolation chamber to break her a little bit.
Yeah. Of course, later that next morning, the servant, an older servant, who was best friends with
Her grandmother.
And she tells her that to get away, and if she does encounter any of the vampires, to stake them or decapitate
running
them
until you leave England.
and continue running to until she leaves England.
Yeah.
Of course, as she's leaving, she says, "What about you?" And she says, "I'll be fine.
I'll get what's
I'll
coming
get
to
what's
me or whatever."
coming for me."
Yeah, and she did. She got killed.
Yeah, she then heads into into a special shed that she was told about, and it has some of the dead remains of the maidservants that were hired.
Yeah, it's already been chewed up and drained of their blood and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the head butler guy, he brings in the latest victim of the maids, and he hears Evie inside there. But as he's about to approach her, Evie quickly scatters out there, locks him inside the shed, and quickly darts into the woods. She gets soon enough. She arrives at a local village.
Yes, it's getting dark by now.
Yeah, at this time it's nighttime, and she runs up to a house, and she taps on the door, and the lady of the house lets her in. And as it turns out, these two people, you may have heard them in the credits, or not in the credits, the trailer, that they're Jonathan Harker and Mina Harker. And
funny that, hey.
And they phone whoever, and then we see on the mantle or whatever, the wall, a picture of them amongst the servants.
Of the DeVilles.
Of the DeVilles.
Okay,
And
which means they used to work for them.
Quick thinking on Evie's part, she throws the coffee into Jonathan's face, but the wife throws a vase at her.
Or a statue or something. Yeah. Knocks her out.
Yeah. Evie blacks out, and she is back in DeVille's house, and he's in his office, and he's telling her about how he's called many things. He's Nosferatu.
Other things. And then he talks about
stuff.
Wallachia and that sort of area. And you mentioned Vlad the Impaler, you start thinking, hey, he's Dracula. But he doesn't use the word Dracula.
No. Yeah, anyway, he says that he promises Evie that he'll give her the world, all that stuff. But she spits in his face, and he shrugs it off, saying that she will come around eventually.
Whether she likes or not.
See, this was against her will, meaning this was an agreement for centuries that has been agreed between all three families and Dracula. Dracula is like their benefactor.
Well, he thinks he's Dracula, but yeah. He's a vampire.
Yeah, he's their benefactor. He's provided them wealth, power, and protection.
And they work for him, and he says, I won't eat you guys.
Yeah, and in return, he gives them money and wealth and anything they desire.
Well, they work for him. They earn their own money by doing his work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One's a family of financiers, one's something else.
Yeah, so by doing this, by giving her Evie to them, he's extends his power. Meaning,
and immortality.
And with Evie, she'll be able to be more powerful than any man or woman on Earth.
Because she is going to be a bit like him.
Yeah, and I think, according to him, that by having her as a vampire bride, the rest of the family may either become immortal too. Which
They will. That was implied. They
it was
said
implied
that.
that was their core relationship with this sort of thing.
They'll all become immortals.
Anyway, we cross to the wedding. Everyone's dressed, and Evie is walking down the aisle in a veil.
And the old
Geezer.
patriarch of the family, the old guy with the walking stick, was giving her away. Isn't that nice?
Not. Anyway, a black hooded, well, whatever, begins to preside the wedding.
Yeah, the wedding official was dressed in a hooded robe and a face mask, so you couldn't actually see who it was.
Yeah,
Yes.
he does it just like your ordinary wedding if it was done in a proper manner. He goes on
Something
to
similar.
say, "Dearly beloved, we gather here today," yada yada yada. And as he's doing the presiding of this whatever, Evie's thinking about what everyone's told her, and I think we hear in the flashback of her ancestor or grandmother telling her to.
You're stronger than you think you are, or something, or whatever. Yeah. So she decides.
So she says, "I do."
I do.
And eventually, Dracula cuts up a vein. I used to thought that maybe he'll drink from her first, but no. Instead, he decides to cut a vein and let her to drink.
And drink his blood. And so she does.
Yeah, and then
he just about sucks him dry. She really got stuck into it.
Yeah, and he says that's enough because there's plenty more to go around later on.
Yeah.
And then we watch her facial expressions
She
and
starts
her
to change a little bit.
Yeah, she starts growing her nails like into
Dragon
claws.
claws and stuff and everything.
And then her face and her veins start changing.
Yeah.
And then she slowly turns away to look at the maid.
So I'm going to have a drink here,
but
she didn't.
But instead, she knocks over the altar and the
knocks
place
all stuff off it.
and it starts catching fire, and she is ready to burn rubber.
Burn rubber?
Well,
burn vampires.
Yeah. So she grabs one of the items on the table and stabs Dracula in the chest.
Well, DeVille.
Dracula. Potato, whatever.
You say potato and I say potato. Let's call the whole thing off.
And she stabs him, and the two vampire widows, I should call them.
Well, they are almost. He wasn't quite dead.
Yeah, are grieving over him, and the rest of the families, they start scattering.
The wedding guests decide to go home.
And Evie gives Oliver an evil, twisted, angry look, saying, "You just sold me out to this devil. I'm going to get even with you and your family soon. Soon enough than you think."
He wasn't.
I'd be careful.
I don't think he is really sure what was going on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she grabs the maid. She helps her, unties her, and then they quickly leave through the through the building as quickly as they can. And soon enough, Victoria catches up and plans on killing Evie. And Evie kept saying that it's over. She killed Dracula, but this is just a scrape compared to what...
No, then Victoria said, no, you only wounded him. He's not dead yet.
Mm-hmm. Just like something I've heard once.
Yeah. No, the point is, if he's still alive, Evie and Victoria still have their power.
Yes.
Ah.
Evie and Victoria, they continue fighting, and Evie's saying, "Oh, you're no match for us. You're just a little girly girl."
Girly girl from New York, yeah.
Yeah, but it has not stopped Lucy. Lucy appears, and she starts attacking, and eventually both Lucy and Victoria, she spears them both through the stomach.
No, she does. Lucy protects Evie from Victoria, and she pushes Victoria against a spear and impales both of them herself.
Yeah.
To save Evie.
Yeah, because I think Evie and Lucy, they started developing a friendship, and even Evie was offered to take her to America to show the world.
Like a sister, lovely.
Yeah, and she wanted that sort of thing. She always wanted a sister, just like Evie
She's been stuck in
wanted.
the house for all these years. Mm-hmm. Bugger.
And she's stuck with that Victoria creep.
Yeah, it's a little bitch.
Anyway, soon enough, as Evie's about to leave with this leave, the Walter appears, or Dracula. I'm going to call him Dracula.
I call him DeVille.
And he attacks her, and he tells her that he was going to give her the world, but now she's thrown it away. And But then she quickly kicks him into the fire. The whole place is catching fire.
Because of the fire she started when she destroyed the altar and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and we watch Walter burn, and
Burn to a crisp.
We see Evie's claws are disappearing. Her fangs are going back to normal.
Because, number one, the maker is dead.
Yeah,
Aha, the
Evie
spell's been broken.
slowly walks out of the building, smiling that she's finally got, destroyed Deville. Oh, I should mention the butler also tried to attack her too, and he even tells her that he killed her grandfather, and he wanted to slaughter the baby too.
He's a meanie.
But luckily enough, she was able to kill him. Oh yeah, she kills Walter with what do they call that special clay pot wire thing?
Kill him. She cut his arm off when he was trying to strangle her.
Yeah, she used that thing and cut his arm off.
So she got loose, and then she kicked him in the chest, and he fell backwards into the fire.
Yeah, then she walks out in a slow motion, and the whole place is catching fire, just like the scene from Ready or Not, type movie. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but actually, at this point in time, I was wondering, well, since he's been married, even though her husband didn't last the wedding night, does that mean she inherits everything?
Who knows?
Aha.
Then we cross to 2 weeks later, I think it is, where Oliver Alexandra is on his phone telling his family that he's going to pack up soon, so he and his family could leave because they think Evie is going to come after them, and he thinks, nah, she's not that powerful or stuff.
We'll take care of her.
But they don't realize that she has a very big grudge, and big grudges can...
And also she had a big friend who came over from America, her friend Grace. Yeah.
Yeah. She admires her new haircut and making...
Yeah.
And then she and Evie walk towards Oliver's office. The end, which implies that she may be getting even with all the family.
Yeah, she's going to take the family out one by one.
Hint, hint. Meaning
Anyway, end of the story.
Yeah,
Fade to black.
Meaning they deserve what they're going to get. I think.
I won't say too much. I've still got a bit of phlegm on my throat, so it's hard to talk. So, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, 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 blah. Now, the script was written by Blair Butler, like I said before, who drew inspiration from Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. The director, Jessica Thompson, made revisions to the script, obviously, as one would. Blah, 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 blah,
when this came out, guys, I thought that at first I thought it was going to be another vampire-related movie, and I thought, but then again, I had different thinking.
But not a normal one.
But I also thought maybe it was a bunch of cult people, like Ray or Not, or something. I mean, there was the poster gave me different mixed feelings about it.
Anyway.
Like the poster showed, one poster showed Evie wearing a wedding gown and her eyes going a whitish colour, making her look like a zombie. Which made me think maybe it's just a witch cult thing. I don't know.
Whatever.
I was so confused.
Now, anyway, the filming took place in Budapest, in Hungary. Great place for vampires.
No doubt.
Now, release date was 26th of August, like we said. So it's a relatively new movie, and it's still raking in the dollars. So we must watch this space and see how well it actually does. Critical response, it's lukewarm reception. Some people said very likeable, but predictable.
Yeah, I did think the names were red herrings.
The storyline.
Yeah, go on.
Predictable. Now, the point is, there's only so many storylines you can do and so many things you can change. So, yeah, of course something's going to be similar, but, yeah, it's like every slasher movie. A bunch of kids go to the bush or to a campground. Some guy comes out with a machete or something or other and kills them.
Yeah.
And last girl standing is the final girl.
Yeah.
Gee, they're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, this isn't quite as bad as that. So
yeah. I mean, the movie makes me think of a cross between Ready or Not and Get Out and The Daughter of Darkness, which we reviewed 2 years ago, which is not really...
That's a while ago, yeah.
And while that was... may have been directly to a TV movie thing, but I thought Daughter of Darkness was pretty
That was a good
okay movie when I think about it now.
Now, I won't talk too much, like my voice is a little bit croaky. I can't find anything wrong with this movie.
Me neither. I mean,
like I said, it could have had a little bit more graphic horror to make it a little bit more horrific.
I would have loved to see more vampires in this one, not just average free.
No, I think that was a family who was the vampire family. Other people their families were servants to the vampires.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, but there should have been probably a tad more violence shown into it to make it a little bit more bloodthirsty, or to get the old blood going, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think that Jessica should have realised that keeping it to just under 13 rating is not the best way to go.
Yeah, sometimes you got to sort of play the ratings game.
Sometimes you have to play
get your target market
play it
correct.
up for the audience at home to make sure that they get to enjoy
but you got to
it.
get your target market. If you're going to do kiddies, but under 10, you'll have whatever. You're going to do kids between, say, 10 and 15, you do something else. You do anyone over 15, 16, you're heading towards adult territory.
Because this movie is hardly... It's not Blade. It's not that type of vampire movie.
See, Blade had more action in it.
And it's not like Underworld either.
That's
an action more.
Yeah.
This one is more... let me see, what would you call this one?
It's a supernatural horror.
A supernatural horror, and it's different from those ones.
It's a bit different. But it could be just a tad more action to make it a little bit better. But still, in all, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it did bring back some elements from the book, and like the free wives thing. Like, why free? Is this an unholy number or unholy trinity that Dracula is obsessed with?
It's 3.
Yeah.
A sacred number, and probably in a Christian thingy and other. So, mystical number. 6 is a mystical number. 7's a mystical number. So, it could be a mystical number,
Yeah, like...
Three Amigos? Could maybe that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Three Stooges?
True.
Whatever. Yeah,
but you've got to admit, free. I know we've seen in the Dracula books, read and watched the movies, there was always free brides for Dracula in that movie. Although when he went to England, he started pegging off some new ones.
Yeah, you need a few more.
Yeah, I always wondered, was there a reason why we always observe Dracula having free brides? Is there a special meaning in that, why he chose them?
And would he limit it?
Yeah. And how
Excuse me.
Dracula, did he pick them at random, or did he just pick them because they're good looking? Or did he just pick them because of unusual bloodline that he just picked?
Positive. My favourite.
Like, did he have a particular brand that he looks for? Like he said, Evie's bloodline was unusual bloodline, and he didn't peg the maids. He dined on them like any drink.
Slurp. Yeah.
But other than that, he didn't turn them into vampires. He just drank them and discarded them. I do wonder what happened to after when the maids were discarded. Won't someone from like the waiting staff report that they're missing, or what about the families? Will the families know of what became of their daughters and the wives or whatever?
You're thinking too much.
I like to think maybe they could have come. If DeVille is that powerful, he could have influenced the police reports saying that they died in a car crash.
Exactly. Put them all in a car, put them over a cliff. There you go.
Yeah, maybe he could have had that much influence. Like, he seemed very powerful. Like, if he could get the families to do what he wanted, they could have in turn tried to make up an excuse for their absence.
Exactly. Sounds good to me. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much more at the moment. My throats are starting to go again. Now, I'm going to rate this about a 9, only because a lack of I would like to see a bit more action in it. Mm-hmm. If they had a bit more action, I would have given it a slightly higher rating.
Yeah. There was also other things aside from the names. We also heard of like what was it?
Whitby.
Whitby and Carfax.
Carfax, New Carfax Abbey. They used things like it was inspired by the Dracula novel.
Yeah.
And hence the new Carfax Abbey and Whitby was where the sanitarium was.
Uh-huh.
If anyone has read the Dracula novel, which I have,
Yeah.
I have the noted version, the big one,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, well, I know Carfax, obviously. Everyone knows the name of Carfax.
Only if you've seen a Dracula movie.
Yeah. I thought the Mina and Jonathan Harker
That was cute.
That
a bit
was
of a cameo in there.
Yeah, I think that when they mentioned that in the trailer, it kind of was a red herring.
And they're old and
Decrepit.
retired and decrepit like me. Anyway,
So I'm gonna rate this. Let me think. I think 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Now, before we go, I can't tell you anything about its availability yet because it's still going through the cinemas. Hasn't been released yet. So keep your eye out on eBay, Amazon, and other, and you will be very happy. If you don't want to buy it, definitely rent it. It's a good look. I think so anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I do think it's pretty interesting. I think if there was more mysterious stuff thrown in there.
A little bit more suspense maybe in it.
Yeah.
A little bit more action, a little bit more blood.
Yeah,
or something.
I would like a little bit more mystery, like whether or not to find out if she find out anything else about the family, like something mysterious.
Had a pet dragon downstairs, maybe.
True, no. I did think it was kind of cool that part about her being stuffed in the coffin, trying to break her.
Yeah. Well,
Don't know what that breaking entails, though.
Look, if I put you in a box for about 4 or 5 hours, how do you feel?
Claustrophobic.
Exactly, and stressed out. And that's what it is. An exclusion, like an exclusion tank. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't see anything. It's dark in there. All you can hear is your own breathing and your own voice. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Anyway, I did think I like the end bit where she's going to take revenge on all her family members who kind of practically threw her to the wolves in that scene.
Or through the vampires.
Well, technically, it was throwing her in the wolves. They were sacrificing her so they can make themselves, immortal in the end. Didn't care about her safety or their lack of one. And this is an interesting thing, Mike. I did notice that Lucy and Victoria, I think more Lucy than Victoria, they had free will even though they somehow maintained what made them human, obviously, right?
Well, they still had the human personalities, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
meaning when Evie completely does her transformation, she is going to be super pissed at her husband for the rest of her days of being a vampire.
The honeymoon was over even before it started.
Exactly, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
I like to think if Evie was completely transformed, she's going to hate DeVille for the rest of her days.
Yeah.
Even if this was not according to his plan. He probably was hoping that she'll eventually would have...
Yeah, she'll come around.
She'll come around. Yeah. She'll get used to being all powerful, all that stuff.
And be able to go shopping for unlimited credit card and stuff. And
whatever that would be.
Was it what?
Yeah, okay. And given all the things she desires, even though what he desires is not like what she desired.
He wants ultimate power over everything. So
yeah. And
she doesn't want that sort of rubbish.
No. Anyway, I mean, he has different views on the world than she does. Anyway, I'm going to kill this now. Sorry, guys. And so feel free to watch the movie.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I would recommend it to you guys, even if...
And it's new.
And I know you may have heard me review it, but...
if you haven't seen it, go to the theatre and see it. Get off your little bottoms there and go to the theatre, buy your popcorn or a bag of chips and an choc top ice cream or whatever you're going to have and a drink, and go there and enjoy the movie.
Anyway, that's about it for us, guys. It's a short review tonight, so this
wasn't short. It's about what it's supposed to be.
Anyway, that's about it for us tonight. So be sure to check it out and let us know in the comments what you think of this movie. All right, this is Sarah Stephenson
and Marl.
Thanks. See you guys around, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.